Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. But God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right, welcome back to the show. Episode 863, we're back doing Yankees. We did take the series off against San Diego. I just didn't have the time, but if you did miss that, we are handing out game ball, or we are tipping our caps, rather, to Trent Grisham, Max Fried, and Fernando Cruz from that San Diego series. That was probably the funnest series of the season, or at least the funnest two games of the year there on the back end. Really, really cool games to do that against a tough team like San Diego, who I think is going to have a legit shot this year, and to do it against that bullpen, which is, I don't even want to say arguably the best bullpen in baseball, but I think the best bullpen in baseball. I mean, they've got stuff in it. They've got velo in it. And the Yankees, just the way they were able to come back and just dominate that bullpen in that series was impressive. But then they go to, I was going to say Oakland. Then they go to Sacramento this past weekend, and they take another 2 out of 3. So it's nice to see a little bit of consistency now. 2 very fun series in a row. And the good thing about this series was that the Yankees went into it without Max Fried, because he wasn't due in this series, and they went into it. They went into it without Max Fried, and then Rodon took a Game 2 loss, but they still won the series. So they won the Will Warren game, and they won the Ryan Yarbrough game. So that's a positive, because I think everybody at this point has heard about this stat. I don't have the number in front of me, but obviously the Yankees have struggled to win ball games when Fried or Rodon don't pitch. So that was good to see. And there are still some things that concern me. You know, the rotation is still concerning, even though it was better this time through. I don't know how they're going to handle this 5th spot through. I thought they were going to use this month to use a 4-man rotation with how the days off are lining up. They went to Yarbrough. So I don't know how that 5th spot's going to look the rest of the way here. I think they keep making up injuries for Stroman, so I really don't think they want him in there. We'll see how far along Luis Gil is, but that doesn't seem like anything that's going to happen anytime soon. And so I think Will Warren, who we'll talk about on this show, is going to remain a big piece. The bullpen. Is the bullpen becoming a little bit of an issue now? I got to tell you, I was very confident about it earlier in the year. After seeing some of the issues that have been, arising lately, it's unfortunate. It's not just Devin Williams anymore, but, Fernando Cruz got lit up in this series. Ian Hamilton was very shaky. Mark Leiter, he didn't pitch much this series, but he's had his fair share of blown saves. And there are now just, maybe one too many guys. And then you got something like, what happened, I think, on, I don't know, it happened at some point in this series where the lack of left-handed depth is hurting you in that pen. You already went to Tim Hill in a game, forced to go to your only other lefty who's a mop-up man in Matzik, and that hurts you. But other than that, the bats right now continue to lead the way. They remain elite. I think the questions that people have about the Yankee lineup are valid, but I think we need to relax on some of that, and we'll talk about that in this show as well. But the Yankees do take 2 out of 3 from West Sacramento in that minor league ballpark, and they continue to play better baseball of late. So hopefully that's something that can continue. So with that said, we are going to get into this series. And that was, Friday, where Game 1 happened. Friday, the Yankees took the 10-2 win over the A's. You had Will Warren going up against the righty Beto. Yankee bats, 10 runs on 14 hits, 9 extra base hits, 6 walks, 10 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases, 1 sac fly, and they were 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Against Beto, they scored 4 and 5 1/3 that he pitched. And against the Athletic Pen, they were able to crack in 6 runs in 3 2/3. But top of the 4th inning, you had Goldie and the Martian with back-to-back home runs. Top of the 5th inning, you had the Martian drive a deep drive to center field, picks up a sac fly, 3-0. 6th inning, you get the Grisham RBI base hit. Top 7, Martian hits his 2nd home run of the game to make it 5-zip. And then top of the 8th inning, the Yankees put the game to bed. Ben Rice, RBI double, and then the Martian steps to the plate again. His 3rd home run is hit. This was a grand slam to make it 10-0 Yankees. So a big night for the Martian. He goes 3 for 4, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. Becomes the youngest Yankee in history with a 3-run home run game, or with a 3 home run game. Ben Rice goes 2 for 5, double RBI. He was hit by a pitch. About 10 times this series. Grisham goes 0 for 4, but he had 2 walks. Goldie went 2 for 4, homer, RBI. Judge went 1 for 4, doubled, walked. Iskara went 2 for 4, doubled, walked. And Yorbi Vivas, 2 for 5 with a double. On the mound for the Yankees, Will Warren was excellent. In fact, we'll talk about him a little later in the show. The bullpen, it was Leiter and De Los Santos. Inning and 2/3, 1 run, 3 hits, a strikeout. Leiter pitched the remainder of the 8th. De Los Santos got the 9th. And that was your win from Friday. Again, 10-2 Yankees. I just realized that if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, I did not have that graphic on the entire time. My apologies for that. But that was Friday's win, where the Yankees won 10-2. Game 2 was the lone loss of the series for the Yankees, 11-7. You had Rodon going up against the lefty J.P. Sears, former Yankee. Rodon goes 6 innings, 4 runs, 8 hits, no walks, strikes out 10, does surrender 2 home runs, and he gets the loss. Or, I don't think he got the loss. Did he get a no decision? I don't really care. I don't remember. Feels like a blur, to be honest. Bottom second, Urias hits the solo home run. Fastball just missed his spot. 1-0 A's. Bottom 3, his off speed was hit around. You had Pareda with a leadoff base hit. He hung a slider to him. Wilson with a bunt to put runners on first and second. And then it was Brent Rooker, 3-run bomb. He hung a slider to him, 4-0 A's. But listen, he finished going 6 innings, 4 runs, 10 strikeouts. So if that's bad with Rodon now, if that's his bad start, you take it. This guy's been excellent for you. He's been on a bit of a run, so you will take this because he kept you in the game and he gave you a chance to win. The bullpen, however, was atrocious. Fernando Cruz was dreadful in that 7th inning. He had no bite on his forkball, was hanging it, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits to put the A's up 7-6. So he took the loss. Tim Hill came in to escape the jam. He did the job, but then Ian Hamilton with just disastrous control. Top of the 8th inning. Couldn't command the 2-seam fastball. Off the plate consistently. Gave up a hit, walked 2. He's pulled for Tyler Matzik, which was... I thought it was a pretty bad move. Again, I know that you wasted Tim Hill because you let him throw 1 pitch there in the 7th and then you didn't go back to him. And you wanted the matchup advantage, so you went to your only other lefty that you had left. But Matzik is Matzik. He hasn't looked good yet, and he's probably not going to look good because he hasn't been good since 2021. And so he was also a disaster. Give up an RBI base hit and then a 2-run double to put the game to bed. So that was kind of a rough move to me. I thought you should have just kept Tim Hill in there, even if you didn't have the matchup advantage when Tim Hill was facing righties. If Tim Hill was going to face righties in Ian Hamilton's spot. Or just keep Hamilton in. I know he didn't have his command, but Matzik is like the last guy you go to in a high leverage spot, but whatever. The bats, 7 runs on 9 hits, 5 extra base hits, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts, 0 for 4 in scoring position. Against JP Sears, they got 1 run, and that was in 5 innings. Came in the top of the 4th, where Judge hit a solo bomb, 4-1 A's. They got 6 runs on the athletic pin in 4 innings. Top of the 6th against Sterner, the Yankees explode for 5 runs. Judge hits his 2nd home run of the game, makes it 4-2. Wells hits the sac fly to cut it to 4-3. Then Cabrera ties the game with a pinch hit sac fly to make it 4-4. Peraza comes up after that, hits the home run off the pole. Yankees take the 6-4 lead. Top 9, Judge adds in a run, RBI in garbage time. So he goes 2 for 5, 3 RBIs, couple homers. Bellinger goes 2 for 4 with a walk. Volpe goes 1 for 4, double and a walk. Grisham goes 1 for 5. He tripled, and that was your Game 2 victory. Game 3, yesterday's game. The Yankees took the 12-2 victory. You had Yarbrough going up against former Yankee Luis Severino. Against Severino, they were able to score 8 runs in 4 innings. Against the Athletic Pen, they scored 4 in 5 innings. Top of the 2nd, Volpe with a single, Cabrera with a walk, Judge with a single. Put the Yankees up 5-0 on Sevy. Top 3, Cabrera doubles to make it 6-zip. Top 5, Rice with a grand slam. Goldie with a double, and all of a sudden it's 11-2 Yankees. Goldie goes 3 for 5 with 3 doubles, 2 RBIs. He's just a pro. Rice goes 1 for 3 with the grand slam. He was hit by a pitch twice. He walked. He had 4 RBIs. Judge goes 4 for 5 with a double, 2 RBIs. His average is back at 409. So he is not just leading in Triple Crown. He's probably leading in like 5 categories, maybe more. Dominguez goes 2 for 5 with a walk. Volpe goes 2 for 5 with an RBI. Wells 1 for 3, hit by a pitch, walked. Cabrera 1 for 4, double, 2 RBIs, walked. Vivas 0 for 4, walked, picked up an RBI. Ryan Yarbrough was solid, man. 5 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, 1 home run allowed, threw 67 pitches, got the win. Asked him to come in, and they asked him to, eat some innings, do your job, and keep them in the game. And that's exactly what he did. And it's what he's been doing. He's been doing a solid job for the Yankees. He's been very versatile. Whatever it is they ask him to do, he's doing it. And he's doing a nice job of it. He's done a nice job this season just in run prevention and just eating some innings and saving the bullpen if he has to do that. He's been good. The bullpen. Speaking of saving the bullpen, the Yankees didn't have to use their pen. It was just De Los Santos and Matzik for the remainder of the game. They did not allow a run. So that was your game 3 on Sunday. Folks, I want to talk about this Yankee lineup because they exploded. They exploded this series. They scored damn near 30 runs, 29 runs in 3 games. So that's almost 10 runs per game. And I think they deserve a little more respect from us, myself included. Now, is it a lineup that can run a bit hot and cold? Sure. Yeah. Like I would like less varying game to game, right? For a team that's expected to play in October, that's not great. Some games they'll come in scoring 10 plus, some games they'll come in scoring 3 plus. So it's not like it's consistently 5, 5, 5, 5. I get that, but I have a hard time criticizing a lineup that is first in runs scored, first in home runs, first in on-base percentage, first in slugging percentage, and first in OPS. I have a really hard time complaining about that. And a lot of people are complaining. And some of their complaints are that this lineup is very top-heavy. And that's a consistent complaint that you continue to hear. But is it, though? Because, the more I hear that, the more it drives me to look some things up. And I did a little bit of research. And I was like, are they really top-heavy in comparison to the rest of baseball and to the rest of these top lineups in the game? So I looked it up, and I used the WRC plus metric, right, which takes into account hitting and base running. It's offensive profile. And so in terms of having offensive players with a WRC plus of 110 or higher, which means 10% better than average or higher, the Yankees have 4 of those guys, which is tied for the 3rd most in baseball. Okay, that excludes Trent Grisham, by the way, which would make 5. And that also excludes Volpe and Wells, who have an above league average WRC plus. It's not too far off of 110. And that's probably this. I did this research on Saturday, so could be even better by now. But yeah, so the Yankee depth compared to the rest of the league is there. It's not that far off of the top in the game. So it bothers me because people think that everyone in the lineup is supposed to hit all the time. This is no different than any other team. This is considered a good amount of depth. And I think that a lot of us are taking it for granted. People like to say, don't take X for granted all the time. This is one of those things we probably shouldn't take for granted. Like a lot of their guys are producing runs. You all asked for this after losing Juan Soto. Some of you wanted to lose Soto so you could get better depth, and now you're crying about the depth. The depth is here. A lot of guys are contributing. So I'm not going to nitpick too much on this lineup because I think there are bigger issues at the moment. Much bigger issues. And again, you want Bellinger to come around, and he's been better lately. Volpe has had some inconsistencies, but his numbers, he's been productive this year. It's if somebody were to ask me, would I take what Volpe's doing right now after what he looked like in his first 2 seasons? I think everybody would have signed up for that. I would have signed up for it. Now, whether or not he can sustain this is a different story, but listen, after last year, where he had a 657 OPS, it was 11 points worse than his rookie year. The fact that he's at a 738 OPS right now, I think a lot of us would take that. And it's the good thing is it's not one statistic that's carrying. Like, he's getting on base a lot more. He's finally in the 3s. His 321 on base percentage is what you want to see. He's got a 417 slug, so there's some power there. He's 22 RBIs, 11 doubles and 5 homers. Like, he's doing productive offensive things. It's a lot better than what you got last year. And I think people just like to hate on Volpe because it's a fun trend. But if he does this season, I would consider it a step in the right direction. Listen, I'm looking at him from a different scale than I think a lot of you were. A lot of us wanted him to be the next Derek Jeter. A lot of you wanted him to be the next Bobby Witt, whatever. Throw whatever name out there you want. He's not that. So I'm just looking at him as, like, I've already tempered my expectations. I'm not there anymore. I don't think Anthony Volpe's ever going to be an all-star bat. But can he be a quality major league bat with great shortstop? And I know he's not played good shortstop this year. But I think that's in his future if he can sustain what he's doing. That's not a bad stat line. So I think Volpe has been better this year. I think Wells, sure, you want those two guys to hit for a little better of an average. You want Wells to start getting on base a little bit more. But the productive numbers are there. The production's there. And then you got Judge, who's ripping the ball. You got Goldschmidt, who's been excellent. You got Rice, who's been great for you. You got Grisham. Those four guys right there have been outstanding. Dominguez is starting to come around. His OPS is really close to 8 now. And that's where I want to transition here and tip my cap to Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez in this series against the A's goes 5 for 12. It's a .417 batting average. 1633 OPS. He had 3 home runs, 7 RBIs in that one game. 2 walks, a sac fly, 4 strikeouts, 6 runs scored. 14 total bases. So he continues to be really good on the bases. You know, he's been really fast. He's making good reads out there. He's in the 80th percentile in base running value. That you love to see that. But yeah, this is his first tip of the cap of the season. And I feel like he's deserved it. The numbers are looking really strong for a rookie overall. Again, if you were to ask me entering this season, would I take 250 average, 343 on base, 448 slug, and a 791 OPS after a month and change? Yeah, I would take that from Jason Dominguez. That's a good start to his rookie campaign across 34 games played. I wish he'd play every single day. I understand it's kind of difficult too when you're paying for Bellinger's contract and you're getting the production you're getting from Trent Grisham. So, but yeah, I think the power is legitimate. This kid hits the ball super hard. He's in the 92nd percentile in hard hit percentage, which means 53.9% of the balls that he's making contact with are traveling 95 miles per hour or more off the bat. It's a good thing to see. That's what you want to see from a power hitter. And the fact that he's working a ton of walks, he's not just up there Jazz Chisholming it. You know, he's not just swinging away. He's 79th percentile in walks, as well as 92nd percentile on hard hit. That is a good indicator from a young power hitter. You know, it tells me he's going up there with a plan, but he's attacking the pitches he needs to attack. If you could still work a count, draw a walk, get count leverage, you're going to set yourself up to punish a pitch that might be in the middle of the zone. But yeah, I think Dominguez has been good. Obviously, the outfield, the left field defense needs to be better. I think he's down to the 1st percentile in fielding value, which is obviously worse than baseball. Now, I don't look at defensive metrics this early in the year because they can fluctuate a ton. Anthony Volpe was in like the top percentiles like 2 weeks ago, and then he started making some errors, and now he's like bottom half. So it does fluctuate, but you know, I think he doesn't. He's obviously trying to be very conservative out there. There have been a lot of balls hit to short left field where he's coming in on them and letting them drop because he doesn't want it to get by him. So he's got to figure some shit out in left field. I've never been a big fan of him in left field. I thought he was much better suited for his natural position in center field. You can't range to your right in left field and have anybody cover the ground for you. You could do that in center field, left or right. But I'm going to be honest right now. I don't give a shit as long as he hits. You wanted to improve still, but I'm not going to sit here and complain like an old man from the 70s about a young rookie on my team who is important for this team's success because he's been producing runs and he just had 7 RBIs in one game. Okay. I mean, you just saw him hit a 430-foot bomb from the right side of the plate, by the way. Now, it was a hanging breaking ball, and it was not a good pitch. And I still think he should bat exclusively lefty. But it was nice to see. So, Jason Dominguez continues to heat up. It's good. You know, I have this weird... So I run my BD4 pages on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and I think on Facebook, I have this weird old man follower. I don't know if he's a fan of the Yankees or just a fan of baseball. I can't put my finger on it, but every time I post about Jason Dominguez or share something about Jason, I could tell it triggers the shit out of this kid or this man. I don't know how old he is. It's weird because he acts like a child, but like the mindset he brings, some of the things he comments is like that of an old man. But every time I post about Jason Dominguez specifically, this dude's like really triggered. And I don't know, something about Jason Dominguez just rubs him the wrong way. And so I always make sure to post about Dominguez when he does something good, just so, you know, I ruffle his feathers a bit. And I like making old men angry who are angry and bitter for no reason. So I like to play around with it, and I play with him a little bit. But yeah, hopefully the more Dominguez hits, the more this, you know, scared old man can go back into his hole and, you know, raise his fist to the sky about, you know, whatever the amount of shit he's gonna complain about. But it's funny because every time I do post about Dominguez, I get this guy in the comments and spewing some bullshit, and it's like if you're a Yankees fan, if that's the case, like probably root for the players on the team. Probably don't root against those guys because it's probably good that the players on your team are doing good things because that probably leads to wins. Anywho, I'm going to tip my cap to Will Warren because I thought Will Warren was great this series in that Friday game. On Friday, the first game of the set, Will Warren delivered what I think was the best start of his career. 7 1/3 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 87 pitches, and he picks up the win. He could have stayed out there, honestly. Give up a couple of base hits, and it was a pretty large deficit at that point. But whatever, he took him out, and Will Warren, that run does come across on his line, but he was excellent. I thought the action on his pitches were very noticeable. That 2-seam sweeper was an elite tunnel combination for him. You know, he was going to the 2-seam early in the count for strikes to set up that sweeper. Sweeper had great break, was getting a lot of swing and miss, dropping it in for strikes. So that was nice to see. And he was much better. Obviously, when you go 7 1/3, 1 run, you're doing the job against hitters third time through, and that's been a big issue on him. He was much better third time through in this game, and also much better against lefties. Athletic lefties were 2 for 11, double, walk, and 4 strikeouts on Will Warren. Now, he still got We still did induce some hard hit balls against lefties, which is a problem, but nice to see the results there for now. The pitch mix to righties does remain elite. It's just going to be left-handed hitting that he's going to have to conquer to be a big league starter. So nice to see Will Warren put up a really good start. It's the third time we're tipping our cap to him this year, so that's good. And then going to the pen. I didn't know who to give it to tip my cap to out of the pen, honestly, because it wasn't a great series for the bullpen. And in a couple of those games, you had the C squad. So what I did was I tipped my cap to Yerry De Los Santos, who pitched in 2 games this series, Game 1 and Game 3. Combined to go 4 innings, 1 run, 1 strikeout, 2 hits, 2 walks, 52 pitches, and he got a hold. Did a nice job. First time we're tipping our cap to him. He helped save the bullpen this weekend. So, there's that. Some nice stuff. He's got 95 with run. So we'll see. Mop up duty for now, but you never know. Maybe he becomes something. I like some of his stuff. That's it. Up next, we've got Seattle. It's another, obviously, West Coast time slot. So late games for a bit, and then they go back home. So with that said, we're going to get to our trivia question when we return from break here on episode 863 of BD4. Be right back. BD4 is available on social media for those who want to follow. You can find BD4 on Instagram at BD4Pod. You can find us on X at BD4Pod. And you can find us on Facebook by simply searching BD4. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, this podcast is also available in video format on YouTube. So be sure to go over to the YouTube channel, BD4, subscribe, like the videos, comment and tell me how much I suck or maybe how much you like the video. We'd very much appreciate it. Don't have time to sit down and watch a video? You can listen to BD4 on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And you can also watch the video format on Spotify too. If you feel like supporting the podcast, you can Venmo at Robert-Carbone-JR-28. We really appreciate your support. Do you enjoy Yankees baseball but are tired of hearing me yap? I have a suggestion for you. Go check out Yankee Crazy Podcast. Greg Gill is a Yankees podcaster on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and he's now selling merch. Go to yankeecrazy.myshopify.com. Stay connected with us. Visit BD4blog.com to explore our blog, tune in to our latest podcasts, and follow us on social media. Thank you for being a part of this community. All right. Let's wrap this one up with our trivia question of the day here in episode 863. Our trivia question: excluding 2020, when was the last season in which the Yankees failed to hit 200 home runs? All right. Excluding 2020, When was the last season? When, not what. I don't know why I said what on the screen here. When was the last season in which the Yankees failed to hit 200 home runs? All right, one final time. Excluding 2020, when was the last time the Yankees failed to hit 200 home runs in a season? So, let me know the answer wherever you can reach me, folks. I appreciate you all tuning in. As always, the Yanks grab 2 in West Sacramento. Seattle up next. We'll see what happens. Appreciate you all. See you very soon. Later. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.